The podcast you are listening to of Holmberg's Morning Sickness is brought to you by my friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Trust me on this one. You've had barbecue before, but you haven't had it this good. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale, ericsfamilybbq.com.
When was the last time you had really good Texas-style barbecue? Eric's Family Barbecue, the way it's supposed to taste. Always delicious, never rushed, and prepared to perfection. Eric's Family Barbecue uses only 100% fresh meat, slowly smoked over mesquite wood until it's juicy and delicious. We all know their brisket is the best, but have you tried their pulled pork, pork ribs, or rib tips? Amazing, and their sides are all house-made. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Make the trip. You won't be sorry. Go to ericsfamilybbq.com for more information.
It's something. Check out Holmberg's Morning Sickness Podcast at 98kupd.com.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. It is 5:45. My name is John Holmberg. There is Brady Bogan, Brett Vesley in the chair, and Big Dick Toledo around here somewhere. This is the Morning Sickness, ready to go once again. Thank your lucky stars you live right here in paradise. I say it every year, and this is the greatest morning ever, next to yesterday. And I'm sure I'll say it again tomorrow because, whoops, your mic switched over.
Hello.
That is just, it's unbelievable. It is just so nice out. So, this is why we're here. Paradise. Stand in it. Roll your windows down. And people are just happier. I was at 52nd Street and McDowell yesterday when I was leaving here, and a dude in his car was they were listening to me. I'm listening to a little Square Hammer by the old Ghost. Got that thing pumping, and this dude pulls up in like a unidentifiable. All those cars that are like he drove away in a blue sedan. That was I don't know what this thing was. It was something. Buick Oldsmobile could have been when Honda getting in the mix. I don't know what it was. Like early '90s sedan. Dude rolls up. Puerto Rican, not sure. Here's the Ghost, and I turn it down because it's loud, and I had the windows down. I turned it down, and he looks at me and he goes, "It's all right." Just gives me, I'm like, all right. Then I'll turn it back up a little bit, but it's not big. It's weird. But we were friends immediately. I don't know how many people that guy had stabbed that day. Like I said, Puerto Rican, but still, best friends for a few minutes.
It's a happy stabbing.
It was. Look, whatever he'd just done, he felt secure about. So whatever body he'd left behind at that point. Or he must have gotten a big slew of wallets just seconds prior. I don't know what it was, but he was happy, and we were just giving each other. And I'm like, that's weather. That's a weather-based friendship. That's a weather-based, cordial exchange. It was great. We live in paradise. I hate when people complain about this city. It's just remarkably kind and nice here. It's great. We got some problems. Sure, everything's got some problems. But you go outside right now and tell me how you can start a day like this. Just breathe it in. It's perfect outside. Although they're trying to ruin that in Tempe. I don't know if you saw that. You, Brady, may live on racist streets and don't even know. You are in Mesa.
Oh, yeah.
You may. What is? I can't ask you what your street name is. I could. Well, we have Keating still, right?
Yeah, that's right a couple blocks from me.
He's trouble. He stole from a bunch of old people, but they still named a street after him.
Mine's not named after anybody.
You don't have a name after everyone?
No.
Okay.
Luckily.
I lived on, when I first moved to Arizona, I lived on South George Drive in Tempe. And evidently... And I know the streets they're talking about here. I don't know if you've seen this, but they're talking about getting rid of a bunch of streets in Tempe because somebody went to digging and found out that they've got names of streets after people who founded Tempe and did things for the city years ago in the 20s that were...
If you look back...
Well, they are Klansmen, evidently. Some. Not necessarily confirmed. Some were tied to the Klan. Some had dealings with the Klan. Some were in the hoods. But you don't know it. So some people who live on Laird Road... Evidently, that's named after a guy in the Klan. I didn't even know what Laird is. I didn't know it was a guy. I didn't know until they told me.
And Laird Hamilton, the pro surfer.
Just change it to that.
Yeah.
Keep Laird and change it to, don't make people have to change all their address forms and tell all the bills and everybody who,
So I'm going to have to change my Jefferson Davis court?
Yes. To Jefferson Davis from Lambda, Lambda, Lambda. I think that was his name, the guy who ran it, right? I'm pretty sure that's who it was. But, it was so they're talking about changing all these names over there in Tempe, and I'm like, was mine a racist? Was George? Is that too racist to live on? If you didn't know, how about what happened to just shut up, nobody knows? You wouldn't have known. Nobody on Laird Road went, well, I'm not living here. It's clearly named after blah, blah, blah Laird from the 20s who had ties to the Klan.
I have to look into some of those names.
You don't know. Yours probably has a few. Gilbert.
Oh, yeah.
You're on a former firm.
Look, anyone.
Joseph
there's
Smith
streets named
Boulevard.
after someone in the
Yes.
1800s and early 1900s. They could be abiding by the law at the time. Not
anymore.
saying that they have slaves or anything, but they're not against it.
The picture actually has the street is my old street, George Drive.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the one they're trying to get rid of. You can't get rid of George, because then doesn't that mean, like, what if you were named after your grandpa's grandpa? Like, it's a name that's passed down. Like, you're like Laird Holmberg the Seventh, and like, you're named after grandpa, and he's a Klansman. It's like, does that mean that you have to?
Anyone with Lee?
Yeah, Lee.
Middle name
Jesus
Lee.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if, but we've got to stop this. We've got to stop this. So somebody in Tempe, and I loved it. There was a lady in the news last night that said, "Really?" Like, they actually kept it in the interview. Really, this is something that nobody cares. There's like starving kids somewhere. Go fix that.
Yeah.
Spend the money on something decent instead of constantly advising. And who did the digging? You dig on anything, and you're going to go back in time and say, "Whoops, doesn't fit 2021 standards. Got to change it." I don't want to know.
Get rid of a couple of the presidents.
In New York City, they're taking down Thomas Jefferson's statue. What?
It's been there for how long?
Well, it doesn't even matter how long. It's that they're now letting the time that he lived define his character, rather than the beautiful document and the ability to argue how to make this country start in the first place be his headline. The definition of Thomas Jefferson is, yes, the slave thing, not a comfortable past, but that was everybody that you know back in that time. You just have to kind of chalk that one up to that's what they did. And it doesn't mean that he didn't start a country that made it possible for that to be defeated down and progress to make sure that doesn't occur again. And that's it. Like, that's the beauty of the entire founding fathers thing, was to say we got to stop the bad parts, and we have to make it so this thing's fluid and liquid. And then they did it. They built a living, breathing document that basically says when things get weird and it no longer applies to the time, this thing can be changed or amended to where it does change, and it has been. And that was his
by
deal.
not one person.
No, right. But they built a system. Yeah. They built like a thing based on somebody else's built. But it's beautiful. So let that be what defines him. And you have to kind of let bygones be bygones on the whole. Yeah, he had that going on. But we can't apply 2021's morality to any other time in history at all.
If you do, then you need to rebuild the White House.
Right.
You got to
all of it.
That.
Scrub everything.
Yep.
New York City? Are you kidding? That thing is built on crime. The whole thing was built on bad deal after bad deal, and crooked person on crooked person, and slaves, and pulling from the Indians like by, a sack of beads and a couple bucks. Slaughter. The whole history of every single thing is awful when today's standards are applied. So people living on Laird, I don't hold it against you. And I don't know who's going to be mad at you if you fight. Say, hey, don't change. I got all my Amazon stuff in there. It's a click away. How easy is Amazon? Like, I got 2 things of protein powder delivered to my house in 7.5 hours based on one move to go, oh, yeah, I bought these before. I need some more of that. I click on it. And
by 5 p.m.
Oh, no, it was over the next day. I did it at like 10 at night. And at 6 in the morning, they're sitting on my porch. Like, this stuff got delivered first. Like, I was first on the list. There were no other deliveries or whatever. And it's because all my address stuff was in there. It says prior order. There you go. Thumbprint. We're good. Scary, but okay. And there it was. I took a nap. Bedtime. Woke up.
Protein shake.
Watched Q talk about, like, weather with the blush on funny and thinking, something's going on. Well, this was Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And then I see that I'm like, there's something on my porch. And there it was. I'm like, when did they deliver this? 2 in the morning? I don't know when this happened. It's crazy. So nobody living on Laird in Tempe, and if I'm talking about you, it's the first time anybody's brought your street name up ever. You got nothing going on there, just a bunch of houses. You're not racist for living on it, and no one should ever go back and go, I wonder who this street was named after. I wonder who we're going to change everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at the Herd Museum. We got
to get rid of that too. Brady's right. Those Indians lost. Let's get rid of all their artifacts.
Well, they have this beautiful collection of Indian artifacts.
Yeah. Is it white owned?
I'm sure they got those.
Oh yeah,
straight up.
I don't know who owns that, but you're probably right.
No, they came from Chicago, and they had this.
Oh, did they?
They started this collection.
I didn't know that. I just know that the Herd Museum is the worst day of the 6th grade when you go to school in Arizona.
It's
Did you
pretty
have to do
slow.
that?
Yeah, it was 5th or 6th. I can't remember, but it was just boring.
I went to sleep in a tent. I snuck away from the group and in a teepee. I suppose.
Teepee,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
a teepee. Well, that's how much I paid attention, Brady. Even then, I was like, "Let's go to this tent." And Charlotte Hartvixen and Amber Hunt and I went and laid down. Not,
All right.
Nah, I know. Well, if it was a real boy, Pinocchio would have nailed him. But no, they
Probably some nice, soothing, like flute Indian
music, yeah.
music.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it felt like I was at a spa, and I didn't even know what a spa was yet. But I hated Herd Museum as a kid. You can't take kids to Indian artifacts museums and expect them to absorb anything. It was a day out of the classroom. We were excited about the bus ride downtown, which, by the way, there was no freeways to, so it took forever. And then go to the Herd Museum, and where's the like? We wanted stereotypical, warriors, and we got pots and where they made.
Did you have to do the
Digs.
corn and the rocks and all that stuff?
Yeah,
Oh.
they're like, "Would you like to grind this?" And
No.
I'm like, no.
Swinging rain sticks.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't do the touristy thing. I think they were mad about all that. And then somebody did a hoop dance, and 6th graders don't care. Like, you have to learn about your culture. I'm like, I don't even know what my culture is, let alone somebody else's. You think I'm going to sit here and listen to this?
Take me to IKEA then.
Yeah. The Indians I know are on Looney Tunes, and they're better than what's going on here. And then as you get older, you're like, this is magnificent. And you're an older person, and you start seeking out caves in Sedona with stuff written on them. And then you get mad. Like, when you're young, you think it's funny that,
John loves.
Yeah, John loves Jessica sitting on the wall there. And it's next to what may or may not be real.
Some son that was sacrificed
Yeah, but when you're old,
to the sun god.
when you're old, you're like, this is a goddamn tragedy to put up a fence around these kids. In 6th grade, you giggle at that stuff. They're ruining it. But yeah, you can't.
Carved out on a mammoth bone.
What was
John was here.
You've lived up State Street,
Yep.
14th, which is, you got to keep
14th
it numbers.
place.
And maybe just keep it numbers. There's going to be too many numbers.
Where there is a house you can probably get a deal on now because it's for sale on Laird Street.
Yeah, how
So,
much? You can get a racist
$372.
deal.
Yeah, you can
$372.
get- yeah.
It's below the average going right
Yeah.
now. It's pretty about right on pace. What's the square footage? 1,800.
1358.
1358. They're getting a nice price per square foot there.
Yeah,
What are they asking for it?
372.
Yeah.
Getting about $350 a
Man.
square. That's pretty solid. That's good. Does it look good? Has it been updated a little bit? All right.
Nah, it needs
Call
a little
Hopkins.
work,
Well, Hopkins will take it. We'll cash off for that. Then I'll get dug in on this thing, and we'll make a killing over on Laird. And I'll build a big, giant house and we'll put a hood on it. We'll put a giant hood on top of it, too. With a big old cross in the front yard, and we live on Laird Street. Not one person on that street is ever like, the only reason I live on this street is because it's named after a man who had dealings with the Klan. Nobody knows. And there is, the guy who is part of the Tempe City wants to make a stink out of this. It's time for you to shut the up and do something else with your time. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Michael Higgins, our buddy, he said that there's also a school named that, so they're going to have to change Laird School as
They have
well.
to change everything. I went to Roosevelt Elementary. Teddy Roosevelt probably dropped an N-bomb now and
Sure,
again.
there's something wrong with him, too.
Oh, yeah, he slaughtered all sorts of stuff. I think he was in on Indian killing, right? Probably. He seemed that way.
He was a hunter, a big
The Rough
hunter.
Riders, though, didn't
and
they
then
kill a bunch
he
of...
went up in Brazil and went up the river, and I'm sure
Probably slaughtered a bunch of savages
or
there.
took a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
for the museum.
I would imagine that Teddy was a supremacist by today's standards. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah,
Old school, big gun guy.
he got shot. I don't know if you remember that. He got shot in the
Yep.
chest and still did his speech.
Yeah. Yeah, he finished
There's a
up.
hole through the.
He tried to kill. It's like, I got this. I'm a rough
I've
rider.
been shot before. I'm a hunter. This
And
is not
people
all the way
forgot
through me.
that it was like, I think he shouted out, arrest that right there. And he said something horrible. I'm like, my God. But nobody cared then. So we got to change Roosevelt Elementary because I'm sure if you dug deep enough, we don't know, but if you dug deep enough, Teddy Roosevelt did some awful stuff by today's standards. John Kennedy did stuff by today's standards that was just dreadful. By his day's standards, it was dreadful too. That dude was ridiculous. Like the dealings they had with the mob and everything. When does it end? When does it end?
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Look how much got done. It's true. Anyway, so Laird and George, and I don't know if George was one of them, and Tempe, if you're on, because they said there was another, Allred, I think, was another one. And that's in
Really?
my old neighborhood, and there was a couple other
here's-
streets. They rattled off a couple
There's
other
Laird
streets.
School, Gillian School.
Don't know. Don't tell me about it, and I won't know it's terrible.
Exactly. Hudson Park, Hudson Drive, Hudson School, Hudson Manor. They're changing all that.
Because of
Redden Park.
Because of that one Hudson. Interesting, because there's a lot of.
Well, that's who they
anyone
named
in
us.
the family.
This dude did some digging and found that out, and basically said, that's that we got to change all this stuff. There's parks. He wants to change the name of parks that I didn't know were racist. And this one says, I live in Tempe. My son goes to Hugh Laird Elementary. Funny thing is, the school is in an area where the minorities are the majority, and the school was completely remodeled 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nobody there's making a stink.
Sounds like Laird has absolutely no influence over what's going on at that school. But we should change it. We should change everything.
And if that were the case and that were the history and the school is like it is right now, wouldn't it be, wouldn't you be happy that, this guy potentially could be rolling in his grave because it's turned out
Look at what
opposite of what he wanted.
I agree with that completely. If you had a racist dude and you find out, oh, God, this guy had some look, there isn't a single school named after somebody here that probably didn't do terrible stuff and racist things. But you're right. The dude is probably
now it's thriving. People are
dead and buried
together.
And there's 2 boys in the smoking section jerking each other off at Laird Elementary. It's the greatest thing you can do to this dude. Like, he's got all his ties back to racism and puritanical behavior and, the ways of
opposite of what he wanted.
Perfect white supreme nation.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite. So spin him like an auger bit under the ground, and let's have black kids and white kids kissing and doing all sorts of jerky jerks right there at Laird Elementary. In fact, we should have a sit-in where everybody it's like a blow-in at Laird, where it's interracial couples only. Just go to right there to where whoever this Laird character is, and just perform interracial blowjobs right there on his grave. How about that? Tempe City Council. That way we don't have to change our Amazon stuff. That's hard. Oh, it's got my old address. God damn it.
And dealing with the goddamn DMV and everything else.
That and my DirecTV account's always asking me for an address. I just did FanDuel. I got to change everything. It's not for me to do. It's for you to do. This guy said, I don't know how serious this is. I went to David Duke's Community College. That's true. I didn't know he had one. But if you put up enough money, they'll name stuff after you.
Do they really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. You got enough money, we'll have the Brett Vesley Community College. I guarantee you that thing gets shut down by 2021 standards in 2022.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, so what are you going to do? Everybody's lost their minds. I don't get it. But if you live on a racist street, you got to look into that. You wouldn't move.
No.
I could
so
live
much
on,
of a pain in the ass to move.
If I got a nice house and I live on Clan Road, there's plenty of other types of clans. If they spell it with a K.
You're living on land that's not yours
right,
to begin with.
Exactly. If we're that uppity about it, let's hand it right back to the Indians and say, you guys got it. We'll go home. We're not doing that. Pick and choose all that stuff. And don't ever take the railroad. Don't ever take any trains because basically Chinese slaves and Irish slaves built that. Nobody talks about the slavery that was more than just one group. There was a lot of lesser than quotey fingers treatments going on in this nation and all that stuff. So if you ever get on a Amtrak train, just know that majority of those tracks were laid originally by a bunch of people that were being beaten into you saw Blazing Saddles. You know how it works. They had terrible work conditions. And they could sing. I get no kick from champagne.
I'm in a real song.
What world of sports is going on here? And now that thing, you got to cancel Mel Brooks, and it's just hilarious.
Don't do that.
Never.
He's coming back with History of the World Part 2.
No, he said
it's
that.
It's an 8-part
20 years.
It's happening.
He's 95. I don't know.
Hitler on Ice, right around the corner.
Hitler on Ice has to happen because that's what we were promised.
Jews in space, too?
Jews in space has to happen before he goes. And put him in space. Jews in space 95 will be William Shatner's record. Anyway. So
there was another, 95 years old. There's a feel-good story that I heard about this World War II vet. He's 95 years old, and he ordered the new mid-engine Corvette, but they're a year behind. He might not have a year.
Sure. So
someone got a hold of somebody, and Chevy or whatever, and they sped the production up, and they delivered the car to the 95-year-old vet.
They didn't give it to him for keeps, right? Just so he can drive around the block once.
No, it's his.
Oh,
and they're like,
idea.
this is, I know, I was thinking.
Terrible idea.
Is that who you want?
You let him drive it one time and just tell him, sorry, manufacturer's problems. But you can drive the showroom one once. You cannot have this. That mid-engine thing. I sat next to one of those at a stoplight in Scottsdale and feel it. And I don't know that he had that thing cooking. I think they've got that valet key too, and I think that drops it down to like 350 horsepower, so the valet doesn't go nuts. But that is a NASCAR.
Yeah.
And the more I see him, the more I like him. You know, it's crazy. And Scott Haynes says, because he's hilarious, thank God nothing bad ever happened on MLK Boulevard. Yeah, exactly. No bad things. MLK didn't have anything bad happen. Let's not resurrect any of those things. Good Lord. I mean, yeah, all that stuff. It's not like you live on Hitler Street. Who knows who Laird is? Laird. I'm with Brady. Laird Hamilton is the only Laird I know. And he's a hell of a surfer, and he was in a great movie with George Clooney called The Descendants. Not the cartoon, the real movie, but it was a good movie. And Laird Hamilton is the one who was driving the boat that knocked Clooney's wife into a coma. And he found out about her infidelity, and it gets good. She's in a coma. And he's
had a family in my neighborhood growing up, Jamie, Lisa Laird.
There you go. I don't know if they were Klan. Probably in your neighborhood, probably in the Klan, but a lot of Klan activity there. Anyway, so I'm now curious because I got street names all around me. And my neighborhood, I found out through there's like people that will tell you about your neighborhood, and you're like, I don't know if that's true or not. And then I looked, and it was. And I found an old newspaper in my attic when we were remodeling that had this story in it about how my neighborhood, which is this weird little semicircle, was built originally for the Arizona, I guess like our Supreme Court and government officials built this neighborhood so they could all live together. And so it's the land in the area. And Ronald Reagan evidently owned one of the houses right down the street because that was where he would stay to deal with the people who were in charge. It wasn't like governor stuff, but it was like the legislators and all those. That wasn't, I guess it was just Supreme Court people. So my streets are all named after those people, I think. And I don't know any of them, but I know like Barrage runs all the way through down North Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's in a ton, and it's in my neighborhood. And I don't know who that is, but my assumption is since the neighborhood was built in the 50s that the dude hated people of color. That's just what white people did then.
So your street name's after somebody, you think?
Mine's after a flower.
And then you get downtown.
Or a racist white guy with a flower
Yeah.
for a name. I don't know. But yeah, and then you go downtown and you got every horrible president all the way from start to like the real starters.
Yeah, we do have Jefferson down there.
Oh, yeah, Jefferson and Van
Pierce,
Buren and Pierce
Lincoln.
and Jackson. He's horrible.
Yep.
That's real close to the Herd Museum, which is
horrible, too.
To get those two together. Yeesh. Anyway, so check into your street name today because I would. If the house was nice enough, the street name has nothing to do with it. I've lived on Segundo Court, Monte Circle, Navajo Drive. We lived in Indiana. We had Indian Heights was the name of our neighborhood, and a Cherokee, Apache, Navajo. All the streets were named after Indian tribes, and just nothing but white people all over, just kind of rubbing it in that this used to be somebody. This is our little tribute to taking it from you. Is we'll name our streets after you, and then we'll play badminton in the backyard on 4th of July. Yeah, I've lived on Kuntz Avenue. Yeah, I know. Even as a kid, we used to laugh at that. And that was in West Virginia, so Guarantede, I lived on a racist street.
Yeah, if you get into the streets, the state in general.
Forget it. We got to stop. And there's again, it's like the Masked Singer. There's nobody for this. These individual nutballs.
No one's going for a
Nobody
movement
cares.
of
No one cares.
changing a state's name.
Nobody cares. Nobody, no. Washington, you can just say it's named after the
Georgia,
apple. I don't know.
anything in the South.
Is Georgia named after somebody horrible? Or is that after the Russian province, which is probably something horrible in Russia we don't know about? I don't care. Nobody cares. So I think we have to hold feet to the fire of the people who bring this to light. So his name, this dude is, was it, I think his name was Ching. Calm down, Brett. He's the guy who started it. We got to out the people that start going, well, this is what I'm doing with my time. Oh, no, it's a guy named Andrew. Oh, no, he's okay. This guy lived on the street, and he's like, I didn't even know. And they're telling me now it's racist. I didn't even know. So if I didn't know, nobody cared. But, yeah, somebody in the Tempe council, what was his name? Tempe city manager. Andrew Ching. Do we believe that continuing to have names of these places in association and all the evil KKK stands for is something that ought to be acted upon? If so, what steps to take? Hudson Park, Redden Park, like you said, Harrelson Park, considered for name changes. Hudson Drive, Hudson Lane, Laird Street. I don't know who any of those people are, but the dude's name is
And neither
Ching.
do 95% of the people in Tempe.
Yep, Tempe, whoever the dude is who dug this up, you're the one we're mad at, not anybody else. That and a dude in a Corvette who's 95 years old. Those are two things. Like, if we're going to stop one of the two things, if I say, oh, my God, we got to get rid of racist street names or 95-year-olds with mid-engine Corvettes with 800 horsepower, which one are you like, first and foremost, let's take the keys from great-grandpa? Yeah, you don't care about Laird Street so much when driving down Laird Street is, ocular
I think the
degeneration
easiest
guy.
transition, as you said, is just change it to a different Laird
Yeah.
and another Hudson.
That's right. Hudson Rhodes, our former coworker.
Saul Hudson.
Fine.
Slash.
Saul Hudson
Saul
slash.
Hudson.
He's black and he's Jewish.
There
For
you go.
God's sakes, how do you
Can't go wrong.
miss? We're going to name it after a heroin addict? Oh, for Christ's sake. We can't name it after colors. People lose their mind. Numbers, I don't know what's going to happen if everything's a number. We'll never find anything. I think we name it after ladies or gays. That's it.
There we go.
That's right. My people. By the way, I want to thank Shanna Ekin for emailing me. Shanna says, John, I just wanted to congratulate you on finally coming out as gay. It's very, very brave. Just think, instead of simply, this is what people are really thinking. This is Shanna's joke to me. Instead of just saying you look like you have AIDS, now you actually will. Thanks, Shanna. See, we can't name streets after her after comments like that. Not all us gays get AIDS. Jeez. Lots of them, but not all of us. Come on. Gee, that's rude. For a guy who looks like he's got AIDS, I take offense to that, but I'm really happy I don't have it. I'd rather look like I had it than actually have it. Wouldn't get treated for that either. Doctor says, you got the AIDS. I'm like, oh, yeah? Is it pills, or do I have to come back here all the time and get my butt checked? Or is there going to be a lot of investigating? Well, never mind. I'm out.
You could create it's another on the streets. You could create good awareness, just named after diseases and stuff.
Yeah. Whatever happens if we named a disease after God? What if we find
Prostate
out-
lane.
Yeah, what if we find out Lou Gehrig was racist? Because he kind of was. He played in a time when there were no blacks in baseball. Can we name a disease after the guy? Lou Gehrig's disease? Can that still be named after him if we find out it's also that he hated black people? Like Lou was on the forefront of saying, they'll never play in my league. You don't know. You only remember the glorious
Teddy
Gary
Williams.
Cooper performance. Oh, Ted Williams is a horrible human being. I don't think I'm happy that they were kicking his head around as a soccer ball when you read about Ted Williams' history. He's a Boston Red. First of all, I got no love for that. Even though they're going to the World Series, it looks like, boy, they mashing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Red Sox Braves. America said no, thank you.
Was it 3 Grand Slams so far?
Yeah, they're killing it. Every time the
ridiculous.
bases are loaded, that ball's going out. It's good. Anyways,
Good. I hate the Astros.
I don't know who to hate more in that one.
I'm going for National League, and I'd never say that, but I'm going for the National League, whoever that is.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Braves
And I
or
never say
Dodgers?
it. Because I can't stand Boston, and the Astros just eliminated my team, so the hell with them.
But don't you want to lose to the team that eventually wins it so you can say it? Okay.
Nope.
You just be
Cheating
like,
sons
now
of
it's
bitches.
third and
I
fourth
hate them.
place.
Nope. Screw them.
It is true. People hate them. Anyway, we can't name anything after the Astros either because they've got a history. Everybody.
right.
I want this pure human being to rise up with no history of bad things, and we'll name every street after that person because we'll have a bunch of blank street names. Not a single soul doesn't have anything. We're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that or said that. Or everybody's got a text or a tweet now. You said something stupid or exchanged a meme that in 10 years you're like, we don't do that anymore. I can't believe you would think about it if they get access to even Brady's tweets. And
Done.
oh my God, you're 10
Not
years.
tweets.
Well, you don't have tweets, but yeah, your texts and stuff.
Or
But,
Instagram posts.
but just imagine in 10 years if capturing and imprisoning animals is like the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
And there's like, you've got 60,000 pieces of evidence that you can't not take a praying mantis and from freedom. And then you feed it crickets and you find that entertaining. He tried to show us that video yesterday privately as if we'd be interested. I actually pretended to sleep through it.
Matt Manti is
pretended?
crushing crickets right
You've
now.
named it Matt Manti? Yeah. Great job. Great job. Did you keep it?
I still have them.
Why?
Well, a little bit.
What do you mean a little bit? Feed him.
Man,
He was
life
doing
is
fine
good.
on his own.
So you got
he
chase
wasn't.
crickets around?
He wasn't. You could tell he was starving.
He was on stucco on a house, and he lost.
What he does. He wasn't lost. He doesn't.
Someone was going to kill him.
Nobody was going to. Yeah, probably, because that's what you do to bugs. Do you have an exterminator?
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you parade an
Not an
exterminator
apex
around
predator,
him?
insect-killing machine, praying mantis.
You have a guy spray for bugs, and you have the nerve to say, oh, this little fella's lost.
What a hypocrite.
What a dick. No street's named after you, douchebag. I hope in 2031, well, first off, I hope Brady's here for this, but in 2031, that morality has changed to the point where bugs become gods, and anything you've ever done to them in the past is punishable by death.
I'll be in front of the line.
Oh, it's stupid. Silly. You never know. Let's get a wake-up song, shall we? 585-9800. And you can drive these racist streets in the perfect weather here in paradise. Glorious, glorious paradise, which, by the way, was 100% stolen from Indians. So get over history and move forward. It's 98 KUPD. What?
You were right, man. We should do this thing.
98 KUPD.
You've been listening to Holmberg's Morning Sickness Podcast, brought to you by our friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Eric'sFamilyBBQ.com.